When you first log into Cloudia, you'll put your username and password in, and then you'll go ahead and log in. Every time you log into Cloudia, you'll get this message unless you have accepted it and identified it not to continue to show it to you. And there's two of them that you have to accept. For training purposes, I have to keep them going. Again, you always activate all plugins, and you're now in Cloudia. First thing we're going to do is create a new lead. You'll come up here to New Lead, left click on New Lead, and that'll open up your lead. A couple fields are required, and that would be your first name, Johnny Doe, and I'm just going to put in a couple brief informations on it. Elk Grove, California, 95624. I'll go ahead and put a mock address in there, 9320, my address in there, Silver Bin, and a phone number, 555. You do not need to put the dash. It'll automatically put the dashes in for you, or you can't put the dash, either way. Always put an email address. That way Cloudia can communicate with them, and when you're creating a lead, you'll always check this box, send any automated emails that may apply to this lead. If you do not check this box at this time, it is almost impossible to go back and do it again. So make sure you always check that. If it's an automated email that would apply to this lead, it'll send it out for you. You'll never have to do it in the future. Then a lead type. There's always going to be a lead type. Is it an ag, air compressor, compactors, crawler loaders? Maybe this one is forklifts, and then the lead source. Call in, Craigslist, direct mail, email inquiry, email marketing, equipment trader, machinery zone. We'll just say it came from Equip site. And is this person a seller or a buyer? We'll go ahead and say they are a buyer, and we'll say they're interested in stock number 1212. Hit add lead, and all new leads go into the leads folder here that I just opened. It's like your inbox for Cloudia. And if it's bold, that means it's a brand new lead. To open it, simply hover over it with your mouse, double click on it, and that'll open the lead. And if this lead is sent to you from inside sales, there'll be some lead data. You create it, it also has the lead data. Basically anything that you put in here initially, this is where the lead data would be. And the inside support person that sent you this lead, they would have identified their name here when they created it, and it might be Jim Pummel. So that way you know who to coordinate back with if you need an invoice or a bill of sale or a shipping quote or some support administrative side. You'd know which inside sales or inside support staff you're working with on that lead. Also put in some specific information in the inquiry. It would be in the notes box here. Now let's pretend that you want to correspond or have some communication with this lead. Left click on Correspondence tab, and you now have two choices. You can email them, or maybe you're going to phone call. So we'll add some new correspondence, and we'll pretend it's going to be a phone, or maybe it was a meeting or other. In this case, we're going to say it was a phone, and outbound means you called them, inbound means they called you. It defaults by outbound. Result, success, contact, John Doe. If you want to leave that blank, or if you want to type in somebody else's name maybe you spoke to, you can. And then what it was that you talked about, some quick notes. This way you can refer. He offered $100,000 for the forklift. Getting a shipping quote. Come up here, or come down here, add correspondence, left click on it. That will save it. And then you go ahead and close this out. Open them back up. Your lead's open, left click on correspondence, and you can now see your correspondence, the record of all your notes and everything are right there. Now maybe you want to send them an email. Shoot him a new email, automatically puts his email address in there, and maybe you now have a shipping quote. shipping quote, and maybe you have a attachment. You can attach it just like you would any other attachment, but we're not going to do that, but that's how you would. And maybe now you'll just go ahead and type in his name, and his name is Johnny. The shipping quote is $100. Charles. Go ahead and hit send. I made up that email address, so it's probably not going to do it. I'll double click on it again and see if it did. Yeah, a valid email address is required to send an email, so it identified that that's not a good email address. My email at hotmail.com. Save. Contact saved successfully. Go back to correspondence, and now we'll do an email. John, shipping is $100. Charles. Go ahead and close it. Open it back up. By closing it and opening, you're basically refreshing this information in this lead. So now you can see there's now two histories of correspondence, one with an email, one with a phone number. Now, if you want to send him an email template, we do have some templates designed. Here's how you would do that. Perhaps you just got off the phone with him and he said, yes, I'm going to go ahead and buy it for $100,000. Send me an email. You send your inside support staff an email requesting them to generate an invoice, and then you would then send your client an auto email. Boom, just left click on it. It automatically says first name. Don't worry about retyping that. That's the key, letting Cloudia know, insert the man's first name from your lead in that spot, so you don't have to do anything there. Then it'll say thank you and congratulations on your purchase. It was a pleasure working with you. Per your request, an invoice has been requested and you should receive it within 6 hours. If you do not see the invoice in 6 hours, please check your spam junk folder. Blah, 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 blah. As a reminder, all invoices are due upon receipt. We thank you for your prompt payment. We have a dedicated inside sales team that are fielding calls and speaking with interested parties on our available units. Unless the deposit has been placed, every unit is still available for sale until the invoice has been paid. John, thanks again for your business and congratulations on your purchase. We hope it was a simple and professional experience. I'll follow up with you day after tomorrow. Then you can hit send. That auto email is sent out. If you want to add some additional information to that email, you certainly can, but you don't have to. I'm going to open that lead back up and show you the correspondence again. And now you see there's 3 correspondence. If he replies back to you, it'll load that correspondence as well. So all email communication will always be inside that email, and any phone call notes that you put will be there too. That is how to create a lead and communicate with the lead. Now what you want to do is move that lead around, and that's how we have these folders set up. We have them as a hot lead, a demo, follow-up, freight quote, in financing, invoiced, sold, sellers, clients, and sellers or as just leads, and then dead folder. So we know we have Johnny that we were getting a shipping quote for. Hold your left mouse key down and drag him into the shipping folder and drop him there. Now, if you're following up on your freight quotes on Wednesday, left click on freight quote and you see you've only got one freight quote that you're still waiting for information. If you had 4 or 5, then you would call the inside support staff and ask them if they've got the freight quotes back on these, or email. Either way. If he's in financing, same thing, drag him to the financing folder. That way you always know where, each time you're clicking on a folder, you know what you're following up about. And now we know that we invoiced Johnny, so we're going to take him to invoice, drag him into invoice, left click on invoice, and there's Johnny Doe right there. Now once Johnny has actually paid and we verify that we've received money, it's now a sold deal. You can now drop him and move him into sold, and that's where he'll reside from now on, in the sold folder. but never put a lead in the sold folder until it's all paid for. He's not really sold until it's bought and paid for. Your seller's clients. This folder is for your contacts, your clients, the sellers that are listing equipment with you. Seller's leads. These are people that you make contact with and you're working and trying, they're basically your leads that you're cultivating. And this will probably be, this one and your seller's clients will be your two biggest folders as you grow and develop your territory. All your leads, whether they're purely a lead or actually a client on the seller's side of the house, this is where you'll always find them. Now, if somebody calls in or you're trying to find the information and you can't remember maybe what folder you have them in, if you know you're looking for Johnny Doe, I can just type in Doe, hit enter, and there he is. Double click on him, opens his lead, and it tells you where he's at. He's in the sold folder. It's right after his name. At the top here, you can see Johnny Doe Equip Site 7 sold. That means he's in the sold folder. If you couldn't remember his last name, you can type in his first name. Maybe you couldn't remember that, but you know, man, this guy was looking for some forklifts, so I'll just search by forklifts. And I misspelled it. But you can search by first name, last name, email address, stock number, or email address, phone number, first name, last name, or stock number. And that'll be able to immediately find out where that guy is in your folders.